Hello social media, my name is Mayday and welcome to Mondays with Mayday. I am a music artist, a producer, songwriter, rapper, a lyricist, whatever you want to call it. I'm starting today's journey a bit weird, a little bit. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're here. Hi, how are you? Did you have a great morning? All right, cool. Today's video, we're gonna talk about some things and then just talk about overall what this channel may or may not be because I'm indecisive. I'm gonna show you today's fit later. I'm also gonna do a face mask because like, why not, you know? Is this channel gonna be ASMR? Who knows? Is this gonna be like a gaming channel? Way back in the day, I used to have like a, what's it called? A gaming channel. It was under Hey Siri. Don't ask for the videos, I don't have them. They were on an old family computer PC tower that is, I play video games, mainly story driven, you know, PlayStation. Some PC, not too much now. I don't play like all the Call of Duty and other stuff, but you know, who knows? If you guys want to see certain videos, just let me know. If you hear a little bit of background construction, we don't mind that. We don't pay attention to that. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the FNAF movie because like, how could we not? We're gonna talk about what this channel may or may not be. I'm gonna do a face mask and then that's pretty much the gist. If you guys are okay with that, get comfortable. Get you some water. My water's over there. First thing that we're going to talk about is the FNAF movie. You can't talk about the FNAF movie without talking about like the games and everything, right? So the games themselves, iconic, right? We'll start with the first like Five Nights at Freddy, and fair warning, right? Come closer. I do not know the lore like that, right? When the game was popular, I used to be kind of into the lore and then I kind of fell out of it just because like it was a lot. It was a lot to process. It was a lot of like theorizing. I didn't know what was happening. You didn't know what was happening. I think I kind of like fell off during like the Purple Man era of the lore. If you don't know the lore, there's a lot of good short video explanations, but I'll do a brief summary of it. From my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong or don't, it's your world, I'm just living in it. I think the lore was just more centered around these two guys, William and I believe William was crazy and like ended up killing a bunch of children, his own children, by accident, thus creating like the Five Nights at Freddy's, like while he was like creating the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, the bodies into the animatronics. You know, the kids' souls took over the animatronics along with their bodies never being found because they were in the animatronics. Now this escalates to a point he's being stopped by the other creator of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. There were multiple locations opened up, multiple things happened, there were multiple children taken. One, I believe the puppet was kind of an accident. I believe the other creator, he ended up making the puppet to protect his child, ended up, I don't know, I guess it killed her to protect her. Don't know what was really going on with that. It's a bit of a gray area for me. Like I said, I don't know very little about the lore, but in the description / whatever you're watching this on, I'll probably just leave like a little video links that I watched to understand the lore. There was a couple of like cute little TikToks made about it. I say cute little, they're talking about murdering children. The gist of it, of all of the games, I think my favorite would have to be the fourth one just because of the scariness, honestly, of it, and just like I think it really connects everything. It all came together, one big ball, you know. Really connected the storylines together. It was very scary, very hard. Did I personally play it? Out of all the Five Nights at Freddy's, I was maybe able to play a little bit of the first one, and then ironically the VR. I know, weird, but it's just, that's what we were able to do. That being said, taking kind of like the lore into consideration, we can kind of talk about like the movie adaptation. So the movie itself centers more around Mike and his family, his sister, and what was going on there. If you haven't seen it, I'll go ahead and put a little skip ahead to like this part of the video so that you don't get like the spoilers of it. But just of the movie, it surrounds Mike trying to take care of his sister and be able to provide for her, and being haunted by his brother Garrett, I want to say his name is, being kidnapped, and him not being able to like stop it or be able to at least catch the guy that was, you know, doing the kidnapping. So he makes a grave error at his job, ends up beating up a man who he thinks is kidnapping his little boy, turns out to be his son. And the opportunity that he's given, he's like, you know, I can't do it, I can't deal with it, I gotta be at home for my sister. So things escalate to the point where his aunt is trying to take the sister, mainly for money related purposes, and he's like, you know what, at this point I'm desperate, I'll take anything. He ends up taking the job, and like, we see the animatronics, and now they are beautifully made, right? They're beautifully crafted. You can tell a lot of detail, and mainly all of the budget went into the animatronics, which, what you would say about the film, you could say a lot of things, but the animatronic quality, you can't really touch. And I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and put the disclaimer out that I like the film. Was it the best? So that kind of depends on how invested you are in the lore. We'll get to like the analogies and like my final thoughts in a minute, but we'll just get back to the story, you know? After the first night, you know, nothing really much happens. We find out that the aunt is working with the babysitter Max, I want to say her name is, kind of irrelevant, and she's like just trying to like plot on this man's downfall, you know? So she's like going and she's like trying to mess up or sabotage his workplace, right? I think Vanessa is oddly introduced in there. It's just like somebody that's like, oh, I don't know, like a random cop. I think out of everything that kind of like bothered me about the film, the way that Vanessa was kind of like introduced, and the way that she was portrayed in the movie was, it wasn't bad, but it was like very interesting. Not because I don't think that she was needed or like didn't add to the story. It was just the way that she was like kind of like, hey, I'm a random cop on duty, coming to check up on you and tell you about yourself, which is kind of like, why, you know, like, who are you? Especially if you don't know the lore, if you don't know like who kind of Vanessa like plays the part, and even then, even her within the lore is just kind of like foggy to me. But I guess I don't know enough about the lore. Like, I know enough to like appreciate like the film and everything that was like going on, like, you know, but not enough to like understand Vanessa's kind of like big picture, her role into it, which is why I think they added the fact that she was William's like child, which to me was also kind of confusing, but makes sense if it's like he adopted her to like kind of fill the void of losing his children, or, you know, I could just see kind of like a birth situation going on there. If you're just evil, you want like want to kill like these children, and then like you have your own children that you want to corrupt into like continuing on your work. I could see that too. But aunt pays these people to go in and kind of like bust up the place, and they end up getting, you know, getting got by all the animatronics. So that's kind of like our first kind of like introduction into it. Oh, see, you know, it's crazy, I forgot all about the beginning, like, you know, of them like introducing the animatronics are evil. I think that part too, because, you know, Markiplier was supposed to be like in that role. I think it was like, it was a good intro, like, you know, it got you excited about the animatronics, but I think during that portion of it, maybe a little bit more of like, you know, securing the doors and like them actually being like the traditional doors that we're used to, and the buttons would have been like more helpful to the adaptation of the film. That is kind of like you get the more like scary traditional like FNAF with Chica and the cupcake. I do think they oddly relied a little bit too much on the cupcake. And not that it isn't more like it isn't relevant in the game, but it's just like I feel like the cupcake played too much of a role instead of like the animatronics, you know? It was kind of weird because it's like the cupcake is kind of like the proportion of Chica, right? If we're talking about children's souls, so is it like a different soul, or is it like the same soul that's just split between these two animatronics? And if so, like, why heavily did the cupcake play like a big role? Like, I don't know, this is kind of like a questioning like thing. It doesn't bother me, it's just kind of like, you know, why? So after all this happens, you know, obviously Max didn't make it, forcing Mike to take his sister to the place. And while we're there, it is worth mentioning, because it's kind of important to the story, that Mike is on this weird like kick addiction to like basically having these dreams to where he's finding out more information about his brother, so I guess find peace, or at least get some sort of justice of the dude that took his brother. Right now, there are speculations that his brother could have been Balloon Boy in the film, mainly for two reasons. One, because I think they were trying to like correlate the colors and just like the aesthetic of Balloon Boy to little Garrett, right? To the fact that Balloon Boy pops up multiple times for Mike as kind of like a, you know, Balloon Boy's just there, and then also Balloon Boy doesn't attack Mike at all. A little bit at the end where Balloon Boy is in the car trying to go somewhere to, I guess, further haunt Mike or play some practical jokes on him, or just kind of like maybe to get closer to him if Mike was Garrett, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I did like the Balloon Boy jump scares, they were very cute and very Balloon Boy. Now again, take what I'm saying, like, it's just like, you know, we're just here, we're just vibing. Like, I'm not a FNAF like fanatic, you know. I know a little bit about the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, I know a little bit about the lore. I did grow up watching Markiplier play these, so am I like the best qualified to really dissect like the lore and like the film? No, but am I doing it anyway? Yeah. So after Mike brings his sister for some strange reason to the place, that's strange, he didn't have a babysitter to where she got, you know, he got clapped in the film. He's kind of like distracted doing his little dream escapade where the children are like kind of giving him like enough to like satisfy his addictions or his wanting to find like his brother. They're doing just enough to kind of keep him hooked. But once they kind of like get the sister in the place, which is kind of like their ultimate goal, to like kind of like win her over and like ultimately like turn her into like an animatronic. And from the film's like kind of like adaptation, I guess the goal was to get her into the puppet. Now I do think eventually they'll succeed in taking her as the puppet, whether that be in the second film, third film, whatever, how many films they plan to do. I do think eventually Abby is going to be an animatronic, and maybe she plays an important role in saving Mike in the next ones. These are just theories. I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. I only speculate that because it would just make sense as far as like, you know, William, because we don't really see much of the other guy yet, you know. I don't even know his name. We just know William's a bad dude and little to none about the other guy. Well, maybe we know more. I like I told you, I don't know too much about like the lore to be like really invested in it, but I like how the film kind of like, it's invested enough, for me at least, into it. Now I know others might want like specific like things and maybe wanted a little bit more of the lore to like come together, but I think the point of film is to not like be exactly like it, you know, to just kind of like adapt it in a way that's like enough satisfying. If the film didn't do that for most people that were invested in the lore, I get it. We'll get to kind of like the main complaints that majority people can agree on in the film later. After Mike having these dreams, things kind of escalate. They go back to the place. Vanessa's like trying to warn him, you know, oddly in a weird, rude tone. Whatever, bring her back here or I'll shoot you, you know? And it's like, again, Vanessa, like, who are you? Like, you just came here, told this man you're gonna shoot him. And then the other issue that I have, right, he tried to like weirdly set boundaries about these animatronics, and you immediately like was like, you know, let's just go build a fort. And he was concerned for the weird split second of his sister's like well-being in this place, and she just like kind of was like, yeah, let's just build a fort, whatever, you know. It's kind of like, why didn't you say something to him during that time? Like, I guess she might have been scared of the animatronics, but it's just kind of like, you had a whole private moment with him to express your concern, and the best you could do was, I'll shoot you if you bring her back here. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. Things kind of like escalate a little bit more where he doesn't really bring her back, and ends up, I guess, trying to get the aunt's help to at least babysit her, which I kind of understand why he would do that. Obviously, Abby ain't having it. You know, she feels betrayed, so she kind of like is like, F you to Mike, and Mike goes back to work. Mike stupidly decides to take a deal with the kids in exchange for Abby, for him to like, I guess, stay in these dreams and or be able to like at least dream and have Garrett and his parents, which we don't really get a lot of clarity of what happened to them. We just know that maybe the grief of losing the children was too much for one of them, and then the other kind of like followed after, is the gist of what I was getting. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. Mike realizes the error of his ways and tries to like correct it, but by then it's kind of too late because the animatronics have gone after Abby, or at least the thought of them. But what we do find out, gotta backtrack, what we do find out is that these animatronics have been kind of like, or these ghost children have been communicating with Abby for a very long time. How that's happening, probably in the dreams, or if there's like a proximity thing going on, or just like in general, she's been communicating with them for a long time. So it makes sense for her to want to play with them in real life and outside of like her dreams and like her drawings and stuff, you know? But Mike kind of gets the picture too as well. A little bit too late for my liking, but like that's the point of movies, you know what I'm saying? Like after he realizes, you know, they've been kind of preying on my sister and like kind of wanting her to get to like have for some strange reason, he's like, no, we're good. And they just kind of like, well, too late, she's ours. They kind of like try to go after Mike. Vanessa is able to like save him some sort of way. We don't really get any clarity on that. Or is able to stop the animatronics from like clapping him too. And for some reason Vanessa was able to get to him, or he was able to get help or get out of the place. That's kind of like unclear. We see Abby, you know, she gets captured, and we see Mike trying to go back for his sister. Vanessa kind of alludes that she won't be of any help. Now, if you know about the security breach Vanny arc of Vanessa, whatever's going on there, then that kind of like makes sense. If it's still a kind of like, you know, I don't get it, just like the gist of Vanessa, I guess she's able to be like influenced or controlled by William to the point where she has an alter ego named Vanny that kind of like is an alter ego that is also into killing kids, or at least into Gregory, you know, trying to like control or get him and other kids we're alluding to. We don't really know for sure, or maybe we do know and I just don't know, you know, that's also possible too. Eventually she does. Eventually William, you know, kind of like expresses that he's the mastermind behind all of this, trying to get Abby, well as kill Mike, because he was the one that kidnapped Garrett, I guess turned him into Balloon Boy or did whatever he did with him. He's able to kind of like control them with the pictures, the colorings on the walls. So I don't know how he's able to influence them, I guess that way, or make it so that they don't remember that he's the one that kind of like, you know, clapped all of them. So they're trying to like, you know, fight for their lives. Eventually, you know, Abby's able to open the minds of the animatronics and the children and let them know, hey, this dude kind of like did all these horrible things and you're still kind of listening to him. So the animatronics turn on William. Nessa gets killed in the process, or stabbed, should I say. We don't know if she's dead. We think, you know, it's alluded that she survived because she was in the hospital bed. William is frustrated that she's not on his side and wanting to like kill Mike and them. So he knifes her. Basically, after all of this, they basically talk about how Joe, like William, getting clapped by the other animatronics and them like taking William, and he gives his like famous line of, I always come back because this man don't stay dead for nothing, as we see it in like the lore. And if you don't know, it's pretty famous for him to like come back, and like the franchise keeps going because, you know, he never dies. He's like Michael Myers, you know. That kind of like is like the gist of like the movie. Did I leave out some important details? Probably. The biggest problem I think people had with this film though was more so just the lack of animatronic representation. And I guess it kind of felt like a slap in the face for some to like kind of see them more cuddly and cute rather than vicious killers than we know them to be. But I think the thing that people are forgetting is that these are children, you know? They're gonna behave like children, i.e. making a fort, being all cutesy with everyone, trying to hug Abby, and just in general behaving like children. I would have liked to see more animatronics, like in the traditional sense that we know them as like the killers, like going after like people. Perhaps for the PG rating, maybe, I guess they were trying to keep it more of less of alluding to the killing and more just like alluding towards it of, oh, they're killers, oh, they've done this, oh, they've done that. I felt like they should have definitely taken a page out of the Barbie, you know, era and kind of catered more to the adults. Not saying that the kids didn't deserve to have, like, you know, well, to be a part of like viewing of the film, but I mean, I feel like in reason that I enjoyed watching it, that they should make it like more so of the adults that were kind of like grew up with the lore, you know? So the kids have like had their movie. It's time to move on, you know? It's time for the second and whatever so on movies to be, you know, for the adults. We want to see like kind of that representation. We want to see the animatronics more just so like the way that we've seen them. We want them to like scare us, you know? I feel like that's valid. It's personally my opinion. I can't really speak for others, but I will also say this too. I had an amazing time like during opening night being with the collective FNAF fans, the ones that were kind of like going to appreciate it a little bit more versus the ones like me that were just kind of like sort of informed but also just like kind of grew up with it, so definitely had to go see the movie. It was kind of like the dramatic gasp in the theaters when the reveals were doing it, and then kind of like the Easter eggs and the YouTubers, I'm gonna say appearances because I can't think of the word right now, kind of like worth it to me. But just everybody collectively sharing that moment like together on opening night, or like I'm not sure when I seen it, I don't think I seen it like opening night, coming together and watching it was what made it worth it and what made it enjoyable. So everyone that I think saw it more so on streaming on their own, or just was like more like wanted to see more of the lore, I can understand why they wouldn't like it. But just like kind of like my final like thoughts and conclusions of it, I did think that yes, there needed to be more animatronic and like terror representation, especially for it to be like a horror film. But like I understand for the rating that they were going for and just like the kind of like aspect of it kind of like holding it back. It just felt kind of held back by the rating. So if you take the rating into consideration and you're there with like the fans and you're just in the theater, I would say like I had a great time enjoying it. I watched it twice, once during opening and then again with some friends, where it was like a little less crowded, not as many reactions, the crowd wasn't too like invested because there was like a small handful. I could totally understand and see like why people wouldn't have liked it. But overall, I thought it was a great film. Would I watch it on multiple occasions? No, absolutely not. I do think it definitely amplified a little bit of what everyone wanted to see, and the people that didn't get the full satisfaction or the full satisfaction that we were looking for is the reason why it didn't do as well. It did well enough for us to have a second film. Like, let's get one thing straight. This fan base, the fan base is so strong. It didn't matter if it was going to be a bad film or not. Like, we're going to get a second one, babes. Like, it's just going to happen, you know? And there's also a level of appreciation from Scott to be able to take in that criticism and to be like, you know, we're going to apply that next time. Because there is going to be a next time to the film. So I'm excited to see what they do with the rest of it. Hope that there are more scares. I hope it's more of a gore type, you know, vibe to it. It's a good example of it, where it doesn't really let up on the terror of like the horror for the first film, you know, the new adaptation. It was kind of like you're being scared back to back. You're not really getting a lot of breaks. That's what I would like to see, but that's just me personally. It's my opinion. If you don't feel the same way, I totally get it. Again, your world, not mine. That's gonna wrap up the FNAF portion of it, and next we're gonna talk about me. I know a lot of you are probably clicking out of the video now. Hi everyone, my name is Mayday. I'm a music artist. I'm a bunch of stuff, honestly. Yeah, my passions include film. I like to do films. or at least try to make them, you know, or small adaptations of whatever I'm trying to go for. I try to incorporate that into like my music videos. Sometimes it doesn't really work out. Sometimes, you know, I'm still learning that. I'm still learning my interest when it comes to that. Video games, I like playing them. I like critiquing them along with films, but not like heavily. I just kind of like, you know, unless the game is like, a game has to be like really like, you know, bad for me to be like, oh, I hated it, or I would never play again. Case in point, if you didn't already peep, the ones that get it. The ones that don't, you know, it's okay. Yeah, so what we're gonna do a face mask and talk about a little bit about that, if that's okay with you. It's not. I'm making a complete what of myself. Okay, all right. Doing today is from Walmart. It's not that fancy, but we're gonna do it anyway because why not? I just want to put a disclaimer out there too. This is not gonna be a mukbang channel ever because I don't like mukbangs. I just don't understand the appeal of someone smacking in a microphone and people enjoying that. If that's something that collectively that people want to see on this whatever this is, maybe.
But barely. No, because I don't even like ASMR. You know, it doesn't do anything for me personally, and I don't really understand it. But like, you know, I will pander. I will.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't. Let's be an ASMR channel. I don't know what this channel is, but basically, you know, I like doing multiple different things. So I don't know what this channel is really gonna be. It's gonna probably be a gaming channel. It's gonna be like an artist channel. It's gonna be just weird. Ooh, oh, that's refreshing. Hold on. It'd be like a weird like channel. No, I have put out one project so far on Space Talk. I like it. Obviously, you know, or I wouldn't have put it out. I will put out this though, you know, if you do or don't like my music, I'm definitely going to develop as an artist, as a person, as a whole. So like, I feel like this channel will also be kind of like documenting that, because at the end of the day, I want to grow as a person. I want to grow as an artist. I want to be able to accept criticism, and I have lots and lots of criticism. Is this right? Is there a nose thing on this? Maybe I'll have like a little section to where I can like kind of like critique my music. I'm working on some new stuff. So yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because I only have like about 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 7 songs complete. So it's like, what's the point of talking about it? But just know the next project that I do put out and the next songs that I do put out, there's going to be a lot of more thought and detail into it. Not that, you know, the ones that I already haven't put out haven't been a lot of thought and detail onto it. I don't want this video to be like too long because there's no reason. You know, we're building, we're growing. But if you would like to see more content, if you like something specific, go ahead and put it down in the comment section. I'll try my best.
We pander. We pander.
I do think, however, the next couple videos will probably be like reviewing or gaming, so we'll see how that goes, you know. But that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys liked it and enjoyed it. I had fun making it, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys would like to see more content, let me know. The next video will probably be like a FNAF video game, because why not? I talked about it. I might as well back it up. Yeah, I'll get better in the intros and the outros and stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. Kisses. But I will see y'all later. Bye. Hi everyone. Production Mayday. Glasses are different, so you know it's production Mayday. I forgot to mention that the main reason I'm doing sort of like videos or like the channel or whatever you want to call it, more so just me of self-discovery. We'll dive more into it as, you know, this progresses, but that's the main reason why. So if you're down to see that as well, why not come along for the ride, right? Other Mayday forgot to mention, you know, follow me on social media, you know. I have all the links and stuff below. I am Mayday. I am _MAEDAE. I do have a song as a music video, Astronaut. Me and my friends worked really hard on it. You know, I'm happy with the way it turned out. And hopefully I'll have more little projects to do. Guys, again, so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Oh my god, oh my god.